I do think that The Familiar is a 5-star read.
If he wanted to, he would.
2 5-star reads? Who am I? Hi friends, my name is Millie and welcome to my next weekly reading vlog. So I'm filming this straight after finishing my last weekly reading vlog because, guys, it's nearly the end of April and I haven't had a single 5-star read yet. There are 2 days left and we have to try and find a 5-star read. So it's a bit stressful. I'm feeling a bit stressed out by it. What I am reading on NetGalley is The Perfect Guy Doesn't Exist by Sophie Gonzalez. That is a YA contemporary and I really like Sophie Gonzalez. She's the author of Only Mostly Devastated, which I haven't read but really want to. Never Ever Getting Back Together, I think it's called, which I really liked. And then she wrote another one that I can't remember the name of, but I'm pretty sure I really loved that one as well. So I have high hopes for The Perfect Guy Doesn't Exist. That is like a sort of described as a love letter to fan fiction essentially, so love that for me. Love any books that have to do with fandom, have to do with fan fiction, always a win. So I'm really hopeful about that. I have to read it by Tuesday in order to count it for April, and if it's a 5-star read, which let's hope it is, then hopefully it will be able to count. So that's kind of my goal. And then my physical read, I figured I would choose With You because my 5-star prediction that I went with for my last physical read, which was A Fragile Enchantment by Alison Saft, was not a 5-star read. It was a 4-star read, so I'm kind of nervous about choosing a book that I feel would be 5 stars. So we're going to go with The Wheel of Fortune. We're going to try and pick one that I would be able to read in 2 days' time, which means I need to sort of love the writing style. It needs to either be kind of a not too dense fantasy or maybe a YA book or a romance, because then I could obviously read it a bit quicker, or even a mystery perhaps, and maybe an author that I love. Don't know. We'll see what The Wheel of Fortune comes up with. We might have to spin it a few times. We will see. So, first spin. Oh, Only This Beautiful Moment by Abby Jimenez. Now, I have to say, that is the one I was going to go for if I was going to pick myself. So I feel like that's a sign. Only This Beautiful Moment by Abby Jimenez. This is a generational story. It's a YA, so it should be pretty easy to read, but it's a generational story about 3 generations of the same family. So you have the granddad, the dad, and the son, who are from Iran, I believe, and it's kind of following them through their teenage years, so the granddad and his teenage years, the dad and the son. And I feel like it's going to be a really emotional read because the granddad in present day is ill, so the grandson is having to travel back to Iran to go and visit him, and I just feel like it's going to be very emotional because you're getting to kind of see how these characters' lives have shaped them and getting to see what they're like in present day based on their background that you can read about. So I'm really excited for this. I feel like this is a good choice, and the cover is really stunning. I can't remember when this came out. Okay, this came out sometime last year. I'm not entirely sure when, but sometime last year, maybe sort of November time, so it's definitely one that I need to pick up. So I feel this is a good start. So I'm going to start this one, hopefully be able to finish it by the end of Tuesday. I'll keep you updated. And same for The Perfect Guy Doesn't Exist. Hello. It is Monday evening and I am 230 pages through Only This Beautiful Moment and I am really liking it. So we have had 2 chapters from Mahmoud, 2 chapters from Saeed and 1 chapter from Bobby. So the next chapter is going to be Bobby's chapter. So in Mahmoud's, we're in sort of present day. He is a gay teen living in America and he is travelling back to Iran with his dad, Saeed, to go and visit Bobby, his granddad, because he's been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And he has a boyfriend in America and the boyfriend really doesn't want him to go to Iran because he is worried that he will be executed because of being gay. And there's kind of the boyfriend is super annoying and there's kind of a whole thing of how he doesn't really respect that Mahmoud is Iranian, he doesn't respect his culture, keeps kind of insisting to him that he cuts off his dad because Mahmoud's dad is quite homophobic. And we see Saeed in his teenage years when he is going to these protests in Iran. So he's living in Iran in his teenage years and he goes to these protests, meets a girl who he kind of falls in love with at first sight, and something happens at one of the protests and he is sent to live in America with his grandma. Something happens and basically it's kind of shows how homophobic he is even as a teenager. And then we also have Bobby in, is it the 1940s? Yeah, in 1939, sort of between Iran and America, or he might have been in America the whole time, I'm not entirely sure, and he is a gay teen himself, so we're kind of coming full circle with Saeed's son and I'm just really liking it. I feel like it's going to end up being really emotional, especially when we get to the end, because we're going to have a lot of stuff to deal with. We're going to have the cancer storyline to deal with, we're going to have the discussion with Mahmoud's boyfriend to deal with how he is really disrespectful of the culture, and we also have obviously the kind of Saeed's homophobia to deal with, both towards Bobby and towards his son Mahmoud. So I'm really liking this. I'm hoping that it will be a 5-star read, and I just really love how I don't want to leave any of the characters' perspectives when their chapter is up. I always want to stay and see what's going to happen to them next, which is a really good sign for me. And the other book I'm reading is The Perfect Guy Doesn't Exist by Sophie Gonzalez. That is, I'm 80 pages from the end, I want to say, and it's absolutely such a love letter to fanfiction. It's really good. I really love Sophie Gonzalez's writing. It's just so easy to read, and as I said, it's just a love letter to fanfiction. So you've got sort of coffee shop AUs, you've got soulmate AUs, and it's just really fun. So I'm liking it a lot, and hopefully I will also maybe give that a 5 stars. Not entirely sure yet. We'll see how the ending plays out. But yeah, so I just thought I'd bring you a little reading update. Tomorrow's the last day of April, so I need to finish both of my current reads so that they can count for April. And today I filmed my May TBR, and I'm really excited for the books I'm hoping to read in May. We've got The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, The Final Empire, Brandon Sanderson, Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. So I'm really trying to go with authors that I love so that we have more chance of finding a 5-star read in May, because I just need all the 5-star reads to make up for April. You get me? So that is the plan for tomorrow, is to finish my current reads. I'm at work tomorrow, but these books are so easy to read that I'm not expecting that it will be a challenge to finish them tomorrow. So that's the plan. And yeah, is there anything else I need to update you on? And Wednesday we're actually going out for a meal with my grandparents, so that'll be nice. But the plan right now is to read some more of Only This Beautiful Moment. So I will catch up with you tomorrow.
Hello, it is Tuesday evening, and today I finished both of my current reads. So I finished Only This Beautiful Moment, and I've decided to give it 5 stars, but I'm not sure that it's like 5 stars in terms of that my love for it is the same as with like Anxious People and Funny Story, like the sort of 2 main 5 stars I had in March. It's more 5 stars in the sense of it's a perfect book, like it's beautiful and it's important and the way it's told is incredible. Not necessarily that my love for it is making it 5 stars. I don't know if I'm explaining that right. I just feel like there's a difference between some 5 stars and others. Like some 5 stars, maybe the actual book isn't perfect, maybe the story or the writing isn't perfect, but in your heart it's a 5-star read. And with some books like this one, in your heart it might not necessarily be the perfect 5-star read book for you, but it is a 5-star book. So it's 5 stars. It was the way that the author chose to tell this story through 3 generations, I think was so well done. I really loved the character development and how each character just felt so fully fleshed out and genuine in their own right. Like as individuals, they felt like real characters, and it was really interesting to see how they were as teenagers, particularly Saeed and Bobby, seeing them as teenagers but then getting to see them as fathers, as grandfathers in the respective next time periods. And it was just done so well. Like it was incredible. Like I just really wanted to stay with each character. There was never a character that I was like, oh, I don't really want to be reading their perspective. And it was just very emotional as well. It really talks a lot about queer trauma and generational trauma and how cycles of generational trauma affect the next generation, and also how small decisions can impact your life, like how going to a protest or going to a club one night or whatever, how it affects both your family's life, how the world at large is affected. It was really an incredible read and just very beautiful and important as well. I really think that this is a YA book that anyone could read. Like you do not need to be a teen to read this. I think you could be 50, 70 years old and get something from this, because it is just so well done and just so emotional as well, like in terms of discovering yourself, in terms of the topics we're dealing with, homophobia, violence, there's a bit of shooting that goes on, and it was just so well done. So I would really recommend this book. I would definitely want to read more from Abdi Nazemian in the future. I don't know if they've written anything else, but I really want to read more from this author, so I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for their next release. I also literally like 20 minutes ago finished The Perfect Guy Doesn't Exist by Sophie Gonzalez. I'm not sure what I'm going to rate that yet. I feel like it is quite a high 4-star read. It was just a fun time. I just love how it is really a love letter to fan fiction and how it is just very sort of hopeful. And I just really love how the author, you can tell the author respects the culture of fandoms, and I just think it's just so lovely. Like definitely something that I don't really think I've seen a lot in YA books, so I'm really glad that there is one out there talking about that kind of thing, because it's something that a lot of teenagers and adults are involved in and don't necessarily have anything to kind of read about, because what you're reading about is kind of the fandoms that you're involved in. You're not necessarily reading books about someone being in a fandom. So I just thought it was just a really fun take, and I can't wait to see what comes next from Sophie Gonzalez. By the end of the vlog, I'll kind of know what my rating is. A high 4-star read, if not 5 stars. So I believe that my next NetGalley read is going to be Abby Jimenez, Just for the Summer, which I am so excited to pick up. It's a romance, an adult romance, and it's basically about these 2 people who, they're both cursed to be kind of the one before the one. So every person that they date, as soon as they break up, they kind of go on to find their soulmate, and they decide to actually date each other in order for the curse to cancel itself out. As you can imagine, things don't quite go as planned, and I'm sure that there's a romance between the 2 of them that's going to evolve. And this would actually be my first Abby Jimenez book. I know that she is a really beloved author. I know that she's kind of on Emily Henry level for some people, and you know how I feel about Emily Henry. So I'm really hoping that I will love Just for the Summer. I also think the cover's so cute. Then I will have bunch more of Abby Jimenez books to catch up with and hopefully be obsessed with. I can't wait. I know Abby Jimenez is deeply beloved, so I am very excited to dive into my first one of hers. And my physical read, I'm not sure yet because tomorrow is actually the 1st of May, so starting a new month, starting new reads. That means that my sort of NetGalley shelf challenge is done. It was kind of a fail because I started April off with 75 books on my NetGalley shelf, I believe. I wanted to really get it down, and as of filming I have 80 books on my NetGalley shelf, even though I've crossed off like 16 books actually from this month. So it didn't help that today I got approved for 5 NetGalley arcs. In less than 24 hours I got approved for 5. So I just really need to stop requesting, but I have no self-control, no shelf control. It is what it is. I'll just have to try and do the challenge again later in the year and actually set myself the challenge of also not requesting in the same month. But it's going to be kind of hard because I was actually auto-approved for Penguin General on NetGalley today, and it was kind of the most exciting email that I've gotten like in my life, because if you don't know what auto approval on NetGalley is, it's basically where you've posted enough reviews for enough books for the publisher and they like your reviews enough and trust you enough that they don't need you to request them anymore. They don't need to kind of check your credentials, and you can just literally, when they put a book up, you can just choose to add it to your NetGalley shelf, like no questions asked, which is so exciting because Penguin General are actually, one of their imprints is Viking, who publishes Emily Henry books, which means that in the future when a NetGalley goes up of an Emily Henry book, I can just read it. I don't even have to go through the whole rigmarole of begging for it. So that is literally so exciting. I can't even believe it. It's actually my second auto approval. I was also auto approved for Fourth Estate books a month or so ago, and they're the publishers of Cleopatra and Frankenstein and Blue Sisters. So to have 2 auto approvals is just insane. I can't even believe it. And to have one of them be Penguin General Viking books so that I can have Emily Henry books, like I just can't. I don't even know what to say. I'm just so grateful. So I'm gonna make requesting stuff on NetGalley and banning myself from requesting stuff on NetGalley even harder. But I'm not gonna complain. I just need to try and be quicker. I remember that in 2022 and kind of the first bit of 2023, when I was like just getting into NetGalley, I was reading like 10 NetGalley arcs a month, and I think that not counting April, I've been reading like 6 a month. So I really need to try and get that number back up so that I'm getting through them a lot quicker and I don't have to go on as much of a requesting ban. But I'm not going to worry about it yet. I'm going to let myself read what I want to read for a couple of months and then do the challenge again. So in terms of physical reads, tomorrow, as I said, the 1st of May, new month, new books, new TBR, and actually I know what the first book I want to read in May is. I really want to read The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, and I feel like that's what I'm going to choose. We'll see what mood I wake up in, but it's just what I really want to read because it's a new Leigh Bardugo book out. I know I haven't read Hellbent yet, even though that was kind of like the release before that, but I need to read The Familiar. I just do. Like, it's so stunning. So we'll see how I feel tomorrow, but I feel like it is going to be The Familiar that I choose for my first read of May. So I will catch up with you guys tomorrow and we'll find out. It is Wednesday
I am 69 pages into The Familiar and I think I found a 5-star read, guys. I never want to speak too soon with books, but I do think that The Familiar is a 5-star read. Leigh Bardugo is just a genius. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. She is just an absolute genius. Like, the way that she crafts her world and her characters, like the main character, Lucia, already obsessed with her. And we don't even really know that much about her, but I can't even explain it. It is so fantastic. I am so happy that I did pick this as my first read of March, and to potentially have a 5-star read already after only having one in April. Very, very excited. So, as I said, we're 69 pages in, and Lucia is working as a servant girl in a kind of wealthy house. They don't have a lot of money, but they are still a lot more wealthy than she is. And one day she ends up fixing a burnt loaf of bread with her magic. And this all would have been fine if the lady of the house hadn't gone down and smelt the burning bread before Lucia saw her, and then saw that the bread was fixed and became suspicious of Lucia. And then she tricks Lucia into mending a dress and starts to ask her to perform for guests so that they can her and her husband can like go up in the world. What ends up happening is that Lucia kind of draws the attention of this man called, I think he's called Don Victor, I'm not entirely sure, but he wants her to perform for the king so that he can become a duke or something. And I'm not really sure why the king wants a miracle performer, especially in Spain at this time, because only saints are allowed to perform miracles and Lucia, being a Jew, not allowed. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that, but I am very intrigued and I am loving it so far. So this is very, very exciting, and I am hoping to read about another 30 pages before I go to bed. So hopefully I will get to grips a bit more with the story as well. And I'm also about 50-ish pages into Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I am liking it a lot. I'm not sure that I'm that in love with it yet. I think that I just need to get used to the characters in that one. Nothing's really happened beyond the premise so far, as in the two people who, Justin and Emma, the two people who are cursed for all of the people that they date to then go on and find their soulmates as soon as they break up. They are called good luck charms by their exes, and they have connected. They've just started chatting, and they're potentially thinking about dating in order to cancel out the curse. So that's really the premise of the book, and that's really where I'm up to. So hopefully I'll find out a bit more by the next time I update you guys. But yeah, I just thought I would just tell you that I feel like I've found a 5-star read. I am popping in really, really quickly to say that I am 224 pages into Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, and I think I'm an Abby Jimenez girly, because tell me why they just kissed for the first time, and it wasn't even saucy or anything, but they just kissed for the first time, and I love them so much. I love Justin and Emma so much. Oh my god, it's actually insane. And now I just want to read every Abby Jimenez book ever. I was literally looking up how many Abby Jimenez books there are for me to read, and I am so glad to say that there are multiple, 5 I want to say, maybe 5 or 6, and I need to read them right this second. So Justin has had to basically, there's a situation going on at home and he's had to take on a lot of responsibility, and it's meant that Emma is not really wanting to actually get into a proper relationship with him because of the responsibilities that he's having to take on, because she likes to move around a lot. Her job is a travel nurse, so every 3 months or so she moves to a completely different place with her best friend, and she has literally never stayed in the same place for longer than 3 months. And if she was to admit how much
she actually felt for Justin, it would mean that she might have to stay for longer, but she just doesn't want to also take on the responsibility that he has because she has her own family trauma. She's in denial. He is very much not in denial about how much he likes her, and honestly this book is just the definition of if he wanted to, he would, because the dates he plans out, love and care that he shows for Emma is just top tier. The definition of if he wanted to, he would. So just for the summer, 50% of the way through, loving it so good, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. It just makes me squeal. I love love. I love a good romance book. I feel like it's maybe premature to say because obviously I haven't even finished it yet and it's my first Abby Jimenez book, but based on that one scene of their first kiss, I feel like I'm an Abby Jimenez girly. Hi friends, very quick update. I am 250 pages of the way through The Familiar, and last night I was watching a vlog from Carrie Can Read, and she read The Familiar in this vlog, and at the end of reading the book she said that she was not sort of expecting the romance to happen. I was like, a romance? What romance? The romance. I fully was not expecting there to be a romance in this book. I was not prepared for it, but now there is a romance and I am here for it. So we are, as I said, we're 250 pages in. Lucia has just done the second task of the kind of competition that she's in, and lots of people have dropped out, quite a few people are dead, there's a lot going on. And the Familiar, who is kind of like her guide, I guess, like her mentor in how to perform for this competition, and there's a romance. And it's very reminiscent for me of Six of Crows. It's feeling like they're not anything like Kaz and Inej, but it feels very reminiscent of that kind of romance, like that kind of just falling in love with the characters and rooting for them. And that's how I'm feeling about The Familiar and about Lucia and Sant'Angelo, and I'm liking it a lot. I do still think it's a 5-star read, guys. I do still think I've managed to find one. So I have got, I think, about 120-ish pages until the end. Hoping to finish it today if possible. Keep you updated on that. Hello, so it is Saturday morning and I meant to update you last night but I fell asleep and then I didn't have time this morning, so we're doing it on my break. But I finished both of my current reads yesterday. First of which, The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. I finished a 5-star. A 5-star. How could it not be a 5-star? Let's be honest. Because this was just incredible. Like the last, I want to say, I don't know, 20-30 pages had me on the edge of my seat. It was just insane. I was like reading it just going, what is happening? And there was just, throughout the book, there were so many things that happened that I was just not expecting at all. And the way that this is written is just so, you can just tell how clever Leigh Bardugo is. You can just tell what a talent she has for writing and just how much she cares about each of her characters. I just thought it was just incredible. It was just so perfect. I can't even explain it. I love her so much. I love this so much. I'm a Leigh Bardugo stan through and through. And honestly, if you have been thinking about picking up The Familiar and you're a bit unsure because it's a bit not really like her other books, historical fantasy, the Spanish Inquisition, the kind of magic system is a bit more subtle, I want to say, pick it up. Just still pick it up. It's so fantastic. A true triumph, I feel. I know I said when I was sort of talking about it that people have been saying it's Leigh Bardugo's best work. I think it's definitely tied with Six of Crows. I don't know if I love it more than Six of Crows. I think purely because Six of Crows, like,
just the whole cast of characters you're in love with. And this one, obviously, it's just very different. I don't think you can really compare them. They're so different. But this is a true masterpiece of Lee Bardugo's. I just think it is incredible. A 5-star read, and I'm so happy that I finally had a 5-star read. After really struggling to find one in April, to have my first read of May be a 5-star read, that is what we want. I just love this. There are so many just incredible quotes in here, and I don't think I marked where they were, but honestly, it was just beautiful to read. I just felt so immersed into the world. I just felt so captivated by these characters. I just felt like I was fully in this time period in Spain, in this time period there with the characters. I could picture everything that was going on, and there are so many side characters as well that you don't really sort of think are going to be important to the story, or you don't expect, when you're first introduced to them, you don't expect to kind of not love them but have a kind of fond place in your heart for them. And that was just what happened in here. Even if they weren't necessarily the most likable of characters, you still end up having a really fond place in your heart for them because they do end up redeeming themselves in ways, and I just loved it. It was just such an incredible book. I cannot recommend people to read it enough. I just think that Lee Bardugo always wins. And the other book that I finished was my NetGalley arc of Just for the Summer. And honestly, I have to say, I feel like this is a 5-star read too. 2 5-star reads? Who am I? Who is she? I do feel it is a 5-star read. I wasn't feeling it. I was feeling like just a high 4-star for kind of like the first, maybe like the middle portion of the book. It was just feeling like a high 4-star. But the ending, like the last, I want to say 70 to 80 pages, just upped it. There was just stuff that happened that, as someone who's never read an Abby Jimenez book before, I didn't pick up on any of what was going to happen, but it really does. This is a book that I think really ties back to her previous books, so I think that if you are a lover of Abby Jimenez, then you will catch all of like the Easter eggs that I didn't catch. Honestly, I feel like this being my first Abby Jimenez book, I felt even more shocked by what happened in the ending compared to if I'd kind of been a bit clued up on it, because I was just not expecting it to kind of unfold the way that it did. Like, this was definitely more than just a romance. This had sort of abandonment issues, PTSD, complex trauma, and it was really, although the romance was incredible, and I'll talk about that in a second, but it was really a story of the main character Emma setting her boundaries, and of her learning to say no to her mother, who is really this. Abby Jimenez spoke about it in a kind of author's note as to where she didn't want to diagnose Amber as any particular kind of mental illness, but she said that she knew exactly what Amber had, Amber being Emma's mum. And I just felt like it was done really well in terms of saying, you know, it's okay, you have this whatever kind of mental illness going on, but it doesn't mean you should have treated your child that way. And I just thought it was done really, really well. I felt like it was handled very gracefully, and it really goes to show that just because someone's your family doesn't mean that you have to accept them treating you like crap and abandoning you and leaving you to starve, which was what happened to Emma when she was a child. Her mum just left her to starve for days at a time, and she kept being put into foster care, then being taken back out and put into her mother's custody, and it was a very traumatic childhood for Emma, and that really leads to why she has all of these kind of commitment issues as an adult. And what I really liked about how Abby Jimenez did it was that she purposely chose to show how Emma is kind of struggling to fall in love with Justin, how Justin's falling in love with her so easily and she is not. And I think she handled it really well. I think she wrote it really, really well, because even though you can see Emma not wanting to fall in love, you can see her doing it reluctantly, and it was just really, really beautiful. I just loved it so much. I think that it was really an incredible romance and really reminiscent of Emily Henry for me, with the choices of adding in this kind of emotional depth and this family background like Emily Henry does. It really goes to show why people love Abby Jimenez so much, and I think that I will also be an Abby Jimenez girly from now on, and I'm very, very excited for this next chapter of my life being an Abby Jimenez stan. And there was also a quote that I will read out to you later because I need to get back to work, but there was a quote from Just for the Summer that I loved. It was just so, so beautiful. So I will read that out to you later on. But let's discuss what I'm reading next. You Are Here by David Nichols. I've been bullied into this by my co-worker. I mean, it's not bullying because I do really want to read this, but my colleague has just said, like, I just need to read this because everyone and their mother's reading it right now. And I want to be able to recommend this to customers as well. So this is what I'm going to be picking up. I know that Violet loves David Nichols, so I'm sure she'll be very happy that I'm going to be reading this. And yeah, this is a Waterstones exclusive bookseller proof, so that's very exciting. And yeah, this is about two people who go on a series of epic walks. It's a romance, but apparently it's also really sad. I'm nervous for that because why is it so emotional? But also I just think it's going to be really, really beautiful love story, just like One Day, and I can't wait. So this is what I'm going to be reading next. Why is it so noisy outside? Do you not know I'm trying to film a vlog? So I'm going to wrap it up here because it's just too noisy. This is what I'm going to be reading next, and I'll catch up with you guys in a bit, and I will read you out that quote, the incredible quote from Just for the Summer. Hello, it is Saturday evening, so I've just finished my day at work, and I did not actually read that much, which is unfortunate. I got through, let's see, 33 pages of You Are Here, and I'm really sad that I haven't read more of it, but unfortunately that was because I was filming my previous clip on my first break, and then on my lunch I decided I was going to go to Primark and do a bit of shopping. So, you know, that wasn't planned. I did need some more sort of summer dresses for work. So I am only 33 pages through You Are Here. I'm hoping I'll be able to get to page 50 before I go to bed tonight. I am... what even is happening? So you have two main characters in here. You have Marnie and... what even is his name? Michael? Yeah, okay, so in here you have Marnie and Michael. So Marnie is a copy editor in London. She is divorced, in her 30s, and basically just really lonely. She doesn't really have many friends. She doesn't really do much at all either. She kind of just spends most of her time by herself. She also works from home. And then you have Michael, who is a geography teacher from York, I believe, and he is recently divorced, I want to say, and he likes going on walks by himself. He likes the solitude, but his friend, so a colleague that he works with, Cleo, has basically invited herself and her family along for this walk that he's going to do, and she's also invited a couple of her own friends, including Marnie. And we are just getting to the point where Marnie's travelling up to the north in order to go on this walk, and she basically said yes because she wants to make herself uncomfortable. She rang in the new year and realised that she had spent the whole previous year doing nothing, just being completely in her comfort zone. All the photographs that came up on her like yearly recap were nothing really. They were like ones of like her gas reading, ones of like a flat tire, etc. So she wants to actually have nice photographs with people in for the next yearly recap. And so when she's invited on this walk by Cleo, she wants to put herself out of her comfort zone, so that's why she says yes, essentially. And that's pretty much where I'm up to. As I said, I'm only 33 pages in, but I'm liking it a lot already. It's very funny. You can really just hear David Nichols' voice through this, and I really, really love that. And I'm very excited to see where it goes. And then the other book that I'm currently reading is What Monstrous Gods by Rosamund Hodge. That is my new NetGalley art, and this is, I want to say it's a bit like a Sleeping Beauty retelling. So you've got Leah, who is basically in training to be a nun, and she was born with the royal gift, which, as far as I know, it involves her having a golden eye, but I don't know anything more than that. I don't know what the royal gift really involves, but anyone who's born with the royal gift basically has to go through this briar that has grown up around the palace for the last 500 years, trapping the royal family inside, asleep for 500 years. And this was brought about by, was he a sorcerer or something like that, called Reuven. And whoever's born with the royal gift must go through this briar, kill Reuven, and will awaken the royal family. And I was really expecting that to happen 100 pages in or so. No, happened like 10 pages in. So now Leah has been betrothed to the prince, because this isn't even a spoiler, this is actually in the synopsis rather, which I did not realise. So she's killed Reuven, and she's been betrothed to the prince, and she must basically prove herself as a princess, I think. I'm not really too sure on the details of it, but she has to prove herself to the queen in order to prove that she can join the royal family. And all Leah really wants is to become a nun. She wants to devote her life to the goddess that the nunnery worships, which is the goddess of spring. I think that the goddess is called Ninan, but I'm not entirely sure because there were quite a lot of gods being introduced in the very first few pages, so I've lost track of it. And yeah, she really just wants to do that. So the queen has kind of told her that she must prove herself so that she can devote her life to worshipping this goddess. She still will have to be princess and marry the prince, but at least she'll be able to still devote her life to the goddess. So they've been sent on some sort of quest, or they're going to be sent on a quest, and it seems pretty good so far. I was not expecting like the whole going through the briar and killing the evil sorcerer to happen so soon, and it's kind of thrown me off a little bit because I'm like, well, what's going to happen in the rest of the book? Like, we've got 300 pages to go. What are we going to be doing? I'm intrigued to find out what happens. I'm just feeling a bit apprehensive of it. So that's my new current reads. But I told you that I had a quote from Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez to share with you, and I have it here now. So I will read it out to you, and I don't even know why I love it so much, but it was really what sold me on this book being a 5-star read, because it was just such a lovely page to read, essentially. So this is told from Justin's point of view, and he's obviously talking about Emma. And if you don't want to know anything from Just for the Summer, I would recommend you skip ahead. I guess this will be kind of mild spoilers. It's not really, but if you don't want to know anything, then just skip ahead. I won't mind. So, I'd realised something after being with her. A valuable lesson that I think all the best and most enduring romances have figured out. The love stories sold us the wrong thing. The best kind of love doesn't happen on moonlit walks and romantic vacations. It happens in between the folds of everyday life. It's not grand gestures that show how you feel, it's all the little secret things you do to make her life better that you never tell her about. Taking the end piece of the bread at breakfast so she can have the last middle piece for her sandwich when you pack her lunch. Making sure her car always has gas so she never has to stop at the pump. Telling her you're not cold and to take your jacket when you are in fact very, very cold. It's watching TV on a rainy Sunday while you're doing laundry and turning her light off when she's fallen asleep reading. Sharing pizza crusts and laughing about something the kids did and taking care of each other when you're sick. It isn't glamorous, it isn't all butterflies and stars in your eyes, it's real. This is the kind of love that forever is made of. Because if it's this good when life is draining and mundane and hard, think of how wonderful it will be when the love songs are playing and the moon is out. I just think that is just so lovely. Like, Justin, peak book boyfriend, honestly. It's just so nice. And I think Abby Jimenez really just goes to show there how much she loves love and how much she loves a romance, and that has really what has really sold me on her as an author specifically, not just on this book, but on her as an author specifically, because that really showed to me how much she really cares about portraying romance, both realistically but also so that you, the reader, is reading a romance that is worth reading about. You know, it's not one where they're miscommunicating all the time, where they're like just being petty or, you know, whatever, where it's toxic or anything like that. It's one where it's just a healthy relationship, and I think that that's a really lovely thing for Abby Jimenez to show. I just wanted to share that with you. That was my last little update on Just for the Summer, and now I'm gonna try and read some more of You Are Here before I go to bed. so I'm going to be wrapping up this vlog here. I have finished 4 books in this vlog and I've started 2. I'm, at the time of filming, I am nearly 200 pages into You Are Here, so I'm hoping that I will be able to maybe finish it today. I'm feeling it is also a 5-star read, which is very, very exciting. May is already far more successful than April. So what did I read in this vlog? Let's find out. So I finished Only This Beautiful Moment by Abby Jimenez. This was following 3 generations of the same Iranian family. I really loved it. Was very emotional, and while it was technically a 5-star read, as I've sort of said, it was a 5-star read in terms of it being kind of a perfect book, not necessarily a 5-star read in terms of my feeling the 5 stars, if that makes any sense at all. I think really I just really wanted to have a 5-star read in April, so that was kind of why. But this was still a really, really great book, very important as well, I feel, and I did really like it. I would really, really want to read more from this author as well. I also finished The Perfect Guy Doesn't Exist by Sophie Gonzalez. I've given that 4 stars and I really liked it. I feel like it was just the love letter to fanfiction and I just really enjoyed it. It was a really fun time. It was just silly, goofy, just easy to read, and I just really love Sophie Gonzalez, so I'm happy to have read that. I then had my first 5-star read in terms of my feeling it in a while, and that was The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. Of course this was going to be a 5-star read, how could it not be? It's Leigh Bardugo, standalone adult fantasy from Leigh Bardugo, and I loved it. Highly, highly recommend. And then I also finished Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, and I loved it. Also a 5-star read, just the perfect romance. There is a fly above me, so I'm hoping it's not too loud. I loved Just for the Summer. It was so cute and wholesome, but also had so much emotional depth to it that I really wasn't expecting, and that just really reminded me of how I feel about Emily Henry's books, so it was a win. And yeah, I had a really good time with all the books that I was reading in this vlog, and I hope that that continues in May with reading You Are Here. I'm feeling it will. My NetGalley arc of What Monstrous Gods, I'm not necessarily feeling that's going to be a 5-star read. However, I haven't read any more since I last updated you on it, because I didn't read any last night because I was at my auntie's looking after the dog, or well, playing with the dog really. And yeah, I haven't read any more of that, so I'm hoping to like catch up on that tonight and also finish You Are Here, and hopefully we'll have another 5-star read in You Are Here, so that's very, very exciting. So I hope that you like this vlog. Let me know what you're currently reading. Let me know if you've had any 5-star reads recently as well. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you wanna, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye!